Hello. In previous class, we discussed some of the basic concepts related to Unix operating system. We already discussed Unix system architecture, some of the basic commands. In today's class, we will discuss some more concepts on Unix operating system, that is based on Unix files. In Unix files, we are discussing naming files, basic file types and categories or categories, organization of files and standard directories, the home and path variable, relative and absolute path names, directory commands such as pwd, cd, mkdir, rmdir, using dot and double dot. We'll discuss this, what is the meaning of those two in relative path names. And finally we'll discuss file related commands which are cat, mv, rm, cp, wc and od commands. First, in the basic concept we need to understand here is the file. File is nothing but it is a container for storing an information. Nothing but it is simply a sequence of characters. Any information we want us to store, that will be in the form of file. Almost all operating system is referring the same concept. Just like that, the Unix operating system also using the same concept for holding the information in the form of files. With respect to the files, whenever we need to give the naming names for that, and I think you are already familiar with the naming conventions when you are using the variables. Just like that, whenever we wanted to give the name of the files in Unix systems, we need to follow the certain concepts. The one concept we need to follow with respect to the files, a file name can consist up to 255 characters. That is nothing but the length of the file. The length of the file, the maximum characters allowed is 255 characters. And what kind of the character should be exist? By default, usually alphanumeric and numerals are allowed in file name. Other than this, the period, hyphen and underscore are used. I think in some of the languages the dot is not allowed. Even hyphen is also not allowed, but underscore is allowed. But in Unix operating system we can use dot, hyphen, underscore for naming the files. Then how many dots we can have in a file name? That is as many as we can use the dots in a particular file name. The one more naming convention with respect to file is Unix is case sensitive. That means if I am using the one file name is capital ABC, which is differ from small abc, so always it is case sensitive. Then in Unix we are having the some of the different files. The one basic file type is ordinary or regular file. Then what exactly the ordinary or regular file? This is the most common file type. It is also we can call as ordinary file. This ordinary file can contain a text file or a binary file. So we'll understand what exactly the text file means. Here, a text file contains only printable characters and we can view and edit them. You might be already familiar with the C language. In that C language, what are the instructions we are written in a particular program, that is a one text file. Or what are the shell scripts we are writing for a particular command, that is nothing but text files. And one more thing we need to understand with respect to the text file, every line is terminated by the new line character. Means in C language you might be observed that whenever we are using the printf statement, we are using the new line character. That is nothing but it will take automatically next line. Just like that, in Unix, ordinary files are by default it is containing the new line character. With respect to the ordinary file, a binary file is nothing but it contains both printable and non-printable characters that covers the entire ASCII range. Here, the ASCII range is nothing but it is a numerical values what we are using to represent a particular character. And other than this, the object code and executable that we produce by compiling the C programs are also binary files. Other than this, sound and video files are also a binary files. So one concept we need to understand here, either it is a text file or it is a binary file, it is a ordinary file or it is a regular file here. Next, second type of the file in Unix is directory file. As the name indicates, it contains no data, but it keeps the details of the normal files and subdirectories. I think already we discussed the one type of the file, that is a regular file. With respect to that file, we are finding the details. Then, what kind of the details we can find it? That will be discussed shortly. This directory file contains one entry for every file and subdirectory it houses. That means there is a one unique number is assigned for every file. It might be a normal file or it might be a subdirectory file. That is also we can call as an inode also. And one more thing we need to understand with respect to the directory files, always it is having the two components, namely a file name and a unique identification number of the file or directory. I think already I highlighted that point, that is inode number. Next, one more file type, the device file. All the operations on the devices are performed by reading and writing the file representing the device, which means that any physical device we are using in the system, we can take the one device printer. The printer is a one physical device which is represented by a one particular file. Such file we can call as a device file. Or else, if I am using the keyboard, there is an input device. With respect to that also, there is a one file is exist. That file, what I can call as a device file. And one more thing we need to understand with respect to the device files. These files are found in a single directory structure. Means, there is a one root directory. Under that, there is a one subdirectory named as dev. That is nothing but dev, device folder. In that folder only we can find all the files. Okay. And one more thing we need to understand with respect to the device file, there is two types of the files usually. One is stream files and one more is block files. Here stream is nothing but we are reading the one character at a time. Block is nothing but multiple character in a one block. And with respect to the files, there is some standard structure is exist in Unix. That structure what we can call as a tree-like structure, and sometimes we can call as a parent-child relationship. Just we can observe the one diagram as I shown in this slide. It is started with the root directory. That is what I can call as a parent directory. Every directory is located under that root directory. Say for example, there is a one subdirectory named as bin. There is one more subdirectory dev. As just now I discussed with respect to the physical files, it is the dev file. And next we can have a etc, home, library, procedure, root, temporary. There is many subdirectory files are there. But what we need to understand in this concept mainly, the bin is the one subdirectory which is most important, because all the commands what we are executing in the Unix, those commands are located under the bin directory. It means whenever I wanted to execute a particular command, the corresponding file will be fetched from the bin directory. And one more concept we need to understand, home and path variable. As the name indicate here, the home variable, it is used to retrieve complete directory of the user. That means when we log in into the system, Unix automatically places in a particular directory. That directory what I can call as a home directory. Means the user has been located under a particular directory. That directory what we can call as a home directory. To retrieve this directory, we are using the one system variable or shell variable. That variable is nothing but home. Just as I given the one example, just you can find it here. Here $sign is representing the prompt, and echo is the one command that we need to use to display the contents or evaluating the one variable. Here the one variable is nothing but home is a variable. We are evaluating that. With respect to that, the contents is home Kumar. Here home is a subdirectory under a root directory. Again Kumar is a subdirectory with respect to home. Whatever the path name, it is absolute path name. Then might be have a one question, what do you mean by absolute path name? If the path name is started with the root directory, that is nothing but /, such directory or such path name we are called as a absolute path name. And one more important variable, that is path variable. As the name indicates, it is holding a sequence of directories that shell searches to look for a command is specified in its own path variable. That means whenever we are executing a one command, in that case the shell will search the corresponding command file a particular directory. Means as I already highlighted the one point, bin is holding the maximum commands of the Unix. Bin is the directory here. Again user bin, then user local bin. So these are the different directories which are existing in Unix operating system. And this path variable is holding all the subdirectories separated by the colon. Just we can find it here. If I am using the echo command with path variable, that means we are displaying the contents of the path variable. So it displays on the screen separated by the colon. Here bin is the one directory, user bin is the one more directory, the one path name, and user local bin is the one more path name here. In next video, we'll discuss some more concepts related to the files. Thank you.